I think that there's a couple of processes in the creation of any art form that happens for artists. And the first one is just getting it done, right? Sometimes as artists, we do tend to kind of shoot ourselves in our own foot and not finish things. And it's remembering, and that first phase is really just finish it. It doesn't have to be perfect. It doesn't have to be great. It just has to be done, right? And so you can put it out there. And through that process, you learn what is good, what is not good, right? Because through your mistakes that have been published or have been put out there, then you can learn for the next project, right? That's the first phase. And a lot of people talk about this. A lot of people talk about, like, it doesn't matter, but it does matter. It depends on what stage of the work that you're in and what stage of your artistry you're at. Because if you're at the beginning stages and you're not finishing work and you're getting in your head and you're trying to be perfectionistic without a goal, then you are actually just shooting yourself in your foot, right? And you're not getting things done, you're not getting things published, you're not getting things out there in the world, which is what is needed. That's the first. The second phase, which is the phase that, until recently I was in, and I still kind of find myself there, is this, this area of frustration, because you want to get through the work faster than it requires. And the work actually requires you to go slower, to go deeper, to sit with the word, to sit with the edit, to sit with the spaces in between the words, right? Whether that's true of like editing, whether that's true of writing, whether that's true of like creating a film, right? Film is different because, there's time constraints. So you're always having to work with time constraints. But if you're not working with time constraints and your time is your own, you have this thing where you want to get it done and finished and out there so you can go on with your life, right?
I just wanted to take a moment here and say, like, it's not that you want to just get on with your life because you don't care. It is rather because you become so used to putting work out that that's your modus operandi. And so when that's your MO, you're just thinking about putting it out. And there's almost like a forgetfulness about the process, that it's actually about the process. And it is the process that gets you to the end goal. Okay, bye.
And there's this frustration because the work is actually kind of forcing you to pause. And it's in this kind of interplay of you wanting to get ahead of yourself and the work requiring you to slow down. That frustration peaks. And I have had a very, very deep relationship with frustration. And it wasn't until recently that I realized, wait, the work is requiring me to slow down. And in the past, I would say 2 to 3 years, it has been a constant need to remind myself to slow down, to slow myself down, not the work. The work will require you. Some things are going to be faster, some things are going to be slower, faster, slower, right? Some things are going to be in between. It is yourself that you have to, it is your own ego that you have to kind of ask to take a back seat, right? So that you can do the work as it is required of you. But the other day I was editing something, a video thing. And I'm relatively new-ish to editing. I still depend a lot on the machine itself, but I know what the vision I have and how to make it happen. And during the process of editing this video, I was actually having a lot of fun. I was like, ooh, I like that. Like, let's add this. Oh, that's nice. Okay, what if we put this thing instead of that? What if we put this mask? What if we put the, like, you know, ins and outs in a different place? How would that, you know, how would that work? And again, I'm still relatively new to editing, but it is in that process that kind of informed me about the other things that I do, right? And it is in that enjoyment that you have to sit in, that you have to live in, right? But to get to that joy and to that fun of just creating, you kind of have to go through these valleys and journeys of being an artist. I've been looking a lot at what MJ did, Michael Jackson, by virtue of like his film, right? Like haven't seen the film yet, but I've like looked at like the journey of his own artistry and his own journey of his own, and I can see the same elements, right? When he got off the was it the Motown Records concert, and he just burst into tears, even though that, like, to anybody, you know, to anybody it was a perfect performance, right? But to him it wasn't. And I think that there is, like what Martha Graham said about, I can't quite remember how the quote goes, but Martha Graham spoke about this divine dissatisfaction that as artists we carry with ourselves. And I think that this is what she was speaking on. And to like continue to quote her, she says that, you know, it isn't our job to question whether something is good or not. It is just to unblock ourselves so that we can allow this vitality, this life force to flow through us. It is not owned by us. We do not create it. It is a flow that flows through. It is an energy of a life force, a vital life force that flows through us. And our job is not to block it. Anyway, think about it, find your places of joy, and let me know how that goes. I want to know. All right.
It's just what I noticed. Something got me hooked.